Now, Jerry's thinking he's such a pleasant guy off the field, though. I mean, this is one polite, young thing. Not that with his kids tell their friends. The intended receiver on the play, incomplete. It will be fourth down. Drew Bledsoe took a chance on that play.
And how do I get myself? I don't understand how to do this. It's not letting me put myself in the video. Exit solo layout. Like this? No. Like this? No. Like this? Nope. I don't know what I'm doing here. Exit solo layout. I'm supposed to move this. Hide. All right. Hey, how you doing? Welcome to the Nitropodcast Beta 4. It is a chance to go back in time because behind me is pre-YouTube video games. Some of the stuff was pretty crap, and some of the games people are now paying money to play as retro. They're buying old consoles. They're buying new consoles that are being loaded with old games. But essentially, we're going to use this channel to examine the past, look at the future, see what's happened when. A lot of crazy stuff has happened since we were last producing this content. And most of it is really good. I think gaming is in a great place. It does feel like we've kind of been bamboozled. I feel like I took off the perfect chunk of time from the gaming industry because, to be quite honest, there was a lot of potato gaming going on, and I missed out on having to buy these graphic cards only to get mid fidelity. And I feel like now you can get kind of a baseline card and get HD gaming, right? HD gaming, no jaggies, that kind of thing, pretty cheap now on the PC. But if you want to spend, $4,000, you can get a computer that has 4090 and all this stuff. So one of the things we want to find out is who is this old guy? Oh my God, Kells Rock, this guy right here. Is dangerous in online games. Although I would like to squad up in Call of Duty. A lot of my time gaming has been taken up by what might be the perfect mix of battle royale, first person, squad, co-op, player versus player. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff happening in DMZ mode of Call of Duty Warzone. It's super addictive and frustrating. I've never had so many interesting interactive experience with other players from different places. And sometimes you'll end up in a squad with someone that's super helpful and wants to do everything you want to do and complete missions and objectives. And then other times you'll load in with someone and they'll literally run right into a group of enemies that are controlled by AI, which cause the enemy AI to shoot and kill you immediately. And so you're dying instantly. But it's damn near perfect. I went back and played some Battlefield just to kind of like see, and I did go back. I played a little bit of Battlefield, and it was really good. And then, you know, I went back like yesterday or 2 days ago, and it was just a mess. It's too many people. It's the maps are almost too big in some sense, just because it's like if you don't have a vehicle and you're on that like sandstorm map, you're spending a lot of time just running from place to place. Not great. Um, all right, what else is going on? We got Burr is saying, I think until VR started making some noise, things got a bit stale. That and indie stuff. I would agree that VR and indie, and it's kind of funny now. I look back, I read a lot of John Carmack stuff and Palmer Luckey and all these kind of guys that kind of helped get VR to where it is now. And again, that's kind of the other thing that I'm glad I missed out on the last 6 years of VR, because it was kind of mediocre and disappointing and almost good and expensive and wires. And, obviously PlayStation VR 2 came out this week. A lot of people talking about it. Fidelity, beautiful, visually great. But what's the compelling use case, right? You're going to have to spend $60 to $80 every time you want to have a VR experience, as opposed to PC VR, where there are literally hundreds, almost 1,000 VR, and I don't want to call them games because sometimes it's just experiences, right? There's something called VR flush. And it's like, if you're going to poop on the potty, you put your VR set goggles on, and this Steam experience, it's not going to game, but it puts you into this kind of sci-fi potty because it knows you're sitting there. So it kind of has everything around you and you can kind of do stuff. And I didn't play it more than once, but it is still there. And it's just one of those things that feels like if you're going to spend over $1,000 for the VR experience that you're going to get on PS5, it just seems like a heck of a lot of money for a very limited, specific, narrow set of software that's going to cost you a lot of money to experience, as opposed to PC, where you can try things and demos and free experiences and a lot of social that's not kind of restricted to Sony's stuff, and custom content. Hello, mods. Like, this is the biggest reason cloud gaming right now is not the best thing, right? Like, if you're a specific gamer that's playing a specific game and just want that, DMZ high-end experience, although I don't know that you want to be playing FPS low latency games like that with cloud gaming. But let's say you're into that. You can't mod anything. You can't modify games with free content, with add-ons, with upgrades. And it just becomes this kind of like feeling like, oh, you're missing out. Like, I constantly read comments from people who have like an Oculus Quest, Quest 2 or whatever, and they cannot play any of the like GTA, right? Like, if you have a PC VR, you can play GTA in VR. It works. It's pretty cool. Red Dead, you can do that. A ton of regular flat games are the best VR gaming content. You will not play Red Dead in VR on PS5. Not happening. GTA 5, not happening. PC, it's happening. And I mean, the list goes on and on. You can Cyberpunk. There's so many. I mean, even just Duck Hunt. You can go and get into a virtual 80s bedroom and play Duck Hunt with the light gun on a little TV. That's a PC VR experience where all you need is the mod. So I just think it kind of goes back to the whole console versus PC thing. Consoles are locked in. You can't, I don't understand why Microsoft hasn't allowed you to plug in a display port, sell an adapter to get a display port for other VR headsets to take advantage, because there are VR games on Game Pass. What's that game? No Man's Sky and Tetris and Hitman, and they're there. Alien versus Predator or Alien Isolation. So that's there. They just didn't release the tools so you can plug exactly. But Sony doesn't want that, because they know that the data shows, this is why. The data shows people aren't buying a lot of software. So if you allow this device that Sony sells, it's gorgeous, the lenses, the comfort, it's all there. If you allow that to work on a PC, how many Sony store purchases are they going to make? Right? I'd be all over PSVR 2 if it worked on PC, right? But Sony's not going to do it, even though they've been kind of embracing the PC market with their formerly PlayStation exclusives. They're not going to go this route because it's going to cannibalize sales. And that's kind of the big story, right? The big story right now with Microsoft Game Pass is that it's cannibalizing sales, and people are like, oh, who are these idiot developers giving their software to Game Pass when they could be giving it to retailers, selling it for full price? And then there are a couple of developers that are like, hey, you dummy, I make games and I sell them on Game Pass, and it's been the best thing that ever happened to our company. Okay, so all of you doomsday, oh, the Game Pass business model can't work. The developers like it. So if the developers like it, I like it. I'm a gamer. I like it. I actually bought a second Xbox Live Ultimate account so that my son can have his own unique account, because there's nothing worse than being in a mission in DMZ with your squad where they really feel like you're there for them and you're going to not let them down. They get shot, you're going to come over and revive them. And then your son logs into the Xbox to play the MLB The Show test, beta test. And because it's my account that he accidentally logged into, it immediately knocks me off the account that I was playing. Or he logged into Call of Duty accidentally with my account, and it knocked me off. So I got him his own account, so that doesn't happen. BMOP saying that according to the data, the PlayStation VR 2 is not flying off shelf. It's too expensive. It's too expensive, and then the software is just, it's going to cost you way too much money just to have a few good games in your library, right? And you still have a wire. And I don't care what anyone says. The only reason wired headset isn't a big deal, is if you're sitting. Like if you're playing GTA or whatever, Gran Turismo VR, which I'm sure is amazing, you don't need to move around. The wire's fine. No one will care. But if you do any kind of moving, like Half-Life Alyx, if you're going to play that, meanwhile, we're all these Sony fanboys that said Half-Life Alyx was going to be announced as a PSVR 2 title. No. So think about that. The best VR game ever made, hands down, everyone agrees, not playable on your $1,000 VR system. Just not. What's this? Call of Duty. What are the sales on Call of Duty? It's got to be pretty good. I've never been a Call of Duty guy. I used to play like the third one, fourth one, way back. But then I just stopped. I was more Battlefield. But this DMZ nonsense has its hooks in me. Absolutely nonsense how much. In fact, this show today should actually just be me playing and you guys watching. Isn't that what Twitch and YouTube is all about? Meanwhile, Mayor Young, the mayor of Gainesville, will be here shortly. He was supposed to be here at 12. And I said, hey, I need a little time. We have an event tonight for Netflix. And I told him 1 o'clock. And then, of course, at 12:30, I'm like, hey, where are you? I'm ready. He's like, I'm eating. So BMOP saying it's expensive and you need an expensive PS5. Exactly. And then every game is $80. The tax. Another sandwich situation. Correct. Mayor Young. All right. Why don't we do this? Because I've got a few other things. Here is a little look, interview about the Sega Net. Remember playing games on the Sega Net? Here we go. I just click this and it'll go, right?
I think what Sega is doing with their 3D online gaming coming this fall is going to be quite incredible. It's really the start of the future in gaming. We're going to have platform gaming as we know it today, but more importantly, and what's really going to help grow the business and grow the category in ways we can only imagine today, is going to be the online component. That's a big thing, and Sega is ahead in the technology curve. I think Sega will continue to be competitive in this category. Sega has some great engineering, some great game development, and really you got to remember that games are what this business is all about. As long as you can make fun games that people like to play, you're going to be a participant.
Put it picture in
Sega
picture.
has proven year after year that they can make great games.
See, that's not picture in picture.
You know, the Sega brand is probably one of the most important brands that we have in our industry and really in the consumer marketplace in general. The Sega brand is known worldwide and recognized as an icon for video gaming. Sega is a strong, strong brand, and with the great marketing they have today, I think it will continue. These are the types of stimulating new business opportunities we as an industry need to see more of. And Sega is really a leader in this area.
Well, I want to let me look at this at the same time.
Sega's brand
Brady
connects with
Bunch.
gamers. It represents quality and it represents product innovation.
Acclaim. Wah, wah. Rob Dyer. I remember Rob.
The Sega brand is a brand that is very, very deep in the heart of gamers. It will always be that way, whether it's with a hardware or a software. Whatever the game is, Sega means a lot, both to gamers and to third-party developers. It is the strategy that Sega has for releasing their new network capability is very, very bold. And I think that they understand that in order to guarantee their future, they have to make these kinds of steps.
Daikatana poster.
When the retailer first hears about it and then the consumer, I expect it to be welcomed with open arms. And I think as a third-party publisher, we're very excited about it. I think it
someone
means
tell me what's going on.
console in
Why
their hands. And
won't
that's
it
what
let
is going to
me
be the most important thing to them.
go side
And
by
then,
side with this video?
Secondly, it's going to mean an opportunity to be online in the living room with a game box, which is something nobody else has done yet. It means that there's going to be more boxes out there to sell our software to. We are very, very pleased with our relationship with Sega. We have taken a very proactive role in making sure that we have games this year to be available for the console. And we believe, honestly, that Sega has a great opportunity this year to be in the marketplace and take a very strong leadership role with this next generation.
We're excited about the prospect of entering into online gaming. Capcom hasn't been in that market before, and this is a great opportunity for us to participate in the market and get our feet wet and really learn how to make the online gaming market work. And being partners with Sega at this time is really an exciting time for us. So we've got a number of games coming that will support online gaming, which we think will drive the retail sales. We're very optimistic about the future of Sega. They've come out with a great console that we've been able to write games for, and our games have been very well received. So Capcom, on the whole, is very pleased with the way Sega has developed into the marketplace, and we're optimistic about them going forward. We think that there's a great possibility that Sega will have a brilliant future, and we want to be part of that. Absolutely. I mean, the Sega brand means gaming. We learned that a long time ago at Capcom, and now with the advent of our Dreamcast games coming out and the sales that we're seeing, the gamers have responded extremely well to the products that we've put on the market. So I don't think there's a brand out there that means gaming as much as Sega does solely.
Can
We
you
at
guys
Best Buy
hear
are really
me
excited to offer our
in the
consumers
background?
new gaming features.
There you go. Could you hear me in the background while I was playing the videos? I don't understand why it wouldn't let me go exit solo Leo. It won't let me. Yeah. Anyways, yes, you can hear me. Great. All right, next video. So Mayor Young is eating. When he's done, he will join us. And there's no reason. All right, here, let's take a look at the games from the Dreamcast launch. Oh my God, it's 3D! Tails!
All systems, full power.
Oh my God, Tails like we've never seen him before. I'm kind of glad my son's into Warzone instead of Sonic lately. I've kind of had enough of that. Oh, there he is. Mayor Young, help me. I can't get myself and this video on the same at the same time. I have no idea how that works. Did anyone really like this version? I guess it was a cool version of Sonic. Did you play Dreamcast Sonic, Mayor Young?
Yes, I did. How are you sharing it?
It's uploaded in the videos and the brand at the video clips. So I'm just playing it from one of the video clips.
Yeah, look, you should be able
I
to
know,
just.
right?
That's so strange.
And
Oh
he
wait,
takes it away.
there you are. You're just.
Yeah, I'm behind it.
Yeah, you're behind it. That's so
He'll
weird.
exit his own
Yeah.
territory.
Look at this.
I've never seen that before.
Oh, really? Should I leave
Are you
and
sure
come
that
back?
it's like not you're not using it as an overlay?
Is that what that is? I mean, it's a video. Oh,
Let's see.
I added it to the side, which is, I guess.
You can. There's a section on the side you can add it to.
I have it under brand. I have them added video clips brand.
It's
Yeah.
all about
No, that
field
look.
smart.
You have it in the right
receiver
place. It
realized he was
seems
in a
like.
dangerous situation.
Huh.
He zipped back to make the catch.
That's so strange. Well, look. Let's stop playing it and let's try to play it again. I don't know. Like,
Hey,
hello,
good to see
Scott
you.
Rubin. How are you?
Yeah,
Good
good
to
to see you.
Good to see you. Yeah.
Cold. It's cold in LA. Tell people how
Oh,
cold it is.
and
I'm
rainy.
from Boston, so I know cold, and I've lived here
Right.
now over 20 years. I don't remember in 23 years I've been living here. I don't remember it ever being this cold this long.
No, I agree with you. Like, I saw reports of meteorologists who had been working for decades, and they're like, so this is the first time I've ever have to do this, but I'm issuing a blizzard warning. Like,
Yeah, they
like
said
your
5
cats are out
inches
here like,
could happen in Ventura County, which is crazy.
yeah, right. You know, and like people in Southern California that do weather for a living
Yeah.
are like, I've never issued a blizzard warning before, but that's what's happening.
Yeah,
And
cold.
that's not happening in LA proper, mind
Yeah,
you, but
it was
it's
38
close enough.
degrees. 38 degrees this
Yeah.
morning when I dropped my kids off at school. That's
crazy.
yeah. Kelsey in chat saying, "Hey, look, it's Mayor Young."
Hey, what up, Kels? Good to see you.
Do you know Kel's
Yeah.
favorite weapon in Rainbow Six was the P90? I don't know. I remember that.
I did not know that.
I don't know why I remember that.
Like,
So
you
if I
just
wanted to show
random
a video
Kels facts.
If I want to show a video with the two of us in the video, why won't it do that? Like if you select that,
Yeah, like that should have given
can you
the
trigger
video.
it? Can you trigger the
Let me
video?
try it. Yeah, let me try it.
All right, Mayor Young
Yeah, I
will
can.
not try. I'm going to remove this comment.
Yeah, and I'm actually shocked that it wasn't
99,
doing
I know.
it. So you want the Dreamcast stats? Oh no, Dreamcast games was what you were looking at, right?
Sure. Yeah, we could do that one.
That's so weird. Hold on, let me try a different one. Let's see. How about let's
That was the
It's so
Sonic
strange.
the Hedgehog competition, costume competition.
Wow. Like,
Should we watch it and just get out of the screen? Because we can't play
Yeah.
it with us for some reason.
that's so weird because usually
I mean, I can maybe
there's
try and
no
add
issue
it from a different place. Let's see.
unless there's like
I don't
some
even
kind of.
know.
Let me just look.
I don't even know where those videos are anymore. That was from so long ago.
Oh, like where they're actually are.
Like on my computer. Like I already, because I was gonna try and re-upload them to like the present
Mm-hmm.
video files thing, because that's
Mm-hmm.
not where I got these from.
Mm.
Let's see, videos 2. Videos. I've been trying to find movies. When you have kids, there's only so many.
Mm-hmm.
Like once your kids have seen every Pixar movie and every Disney
Mm-hmm.
movie and every Minions movie, like at some point, right? The bucket, you're like, oh, we've seen them all. That's all of them, right? So I start to go, well, what
Right.
movies did I like as a
Right.
kid that they might like? And so it's been hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Right.
I brought them Look Who's Talking. Okay, Look Who's Talking was very
Oh, I
popular,
loved
right?
Look Who's Talking.
Right?
Yeah,
Talking
very
babies. Who
popular.
doesn't like talking babies? Right? But
They still do it in
you
the
can
Super Bowl, right?
But you can clearly see that we have changed as a society. There are things happening in movies from my childhood that I look at my wife and I'm like, what did she just like?
Right,
Like
100%.
fat shaming and like
Mm-hmm.
so much misogyny, like the
Mm-hmm.
anti-women stay at home, like the messaging to
Yeah.
women in the 80s and 90s is fascinating. And the
Yeah.
movies, the portrayals of women. And if you were a
Mm-hmm.
working woman and you weren't a working man, like 9 to 5, they would just
Mm-hmm.
shred you either side. So Look Who's Talking
Mm-hmm.
was good. Look Who's Talking 2. Do you know what happens in Look
Mm-hmm.
Who's Talking 2?
I mean, I remember Look Who's Talking To.
Oh, you
I saw
it.
that.
Okay, well, what is that?
Oh yeah,
What
yeah. No, I
happens
saw
Look
it in a
Who's
double
Talking 2?
feature with the bear, I think.
Okay, what happens in Look Who's Talking 2? Like, how could they? What was the sequel? Do you remember? Because the first one, it's Mikey, the baby.
Right.
That was the only
like,
movie he ever did, by the way, Mikey. The kid that played Mikey, he was so cute.
Oh, really?
He
That
became
was the
like a
only movie he ever
singer.
did?
Yes. So he disappeared.
Oh, wow, that's
because
wild.
Look Who's Talking 2, they didn't use him. New kid, right? So new kid gets to play Mikey. So his
Mm-hmm.
whole career is over after one baby movie. And then they gave him a sister in Look Who's Talking 2.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Well,
Now.
Well, I figure you can take your kids to the Talking Baby movie, but the way they portray having babies, right? So the whole opening
Yeah.
of the movie is the sperm all
I remember
racing to
that.
the egg.
Yeah.
Lots
And they
of
talk.
questions. Yeah, they talk, and there's just questions you don't want to talk about. And then she's like, the guy that she had the baby with is like 30-year-old George Siegel. He's like 30 years older than her, and he's married, and he's having an affair, and he's literally like taking her clothes off in the office. And I'm looking at my kids, and I'm like, what have we done?
Yeah.
What? This is so not a kid's movie.
Hey, man.
But you just kind of get through that, and then they bring in the daughter in the second movie. But the third movie, Look Who's Talking Now. You know what that one's about?
I don't remember. I don't even know that I've seen Look Who's Talking Now. Is that animals?
The dogs.
Oh, is that animals? Okay. That's
I
think I do remember that.
Dogs talk, and it's like,
yeah.
The dog. Kid wants a dog. And John Travolta's character is so mean and angry, and the way these parents fight with each other just seems very like nasty, mean. But and then I'm like, this is John Travolta. He's like Saturday, Grease they've seen, and it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain to little kids about trajectories of an actor's career. How it's like,
right.
This was when he did Look Who's Talking. It's like, hey, it's John Travolta. And then, oh boy, that went down for a while. And then it was like, a bunch of bad movies. And then he did like Michael, right? And then Phenomenon, where he's like,
I do remember
Phenomenon is like almost like Jesus or something, right?
Yeah.
And then he did the Scientology movie where he got the book. And it was like,
wait, you're talking about the Earth, the sci-fi movie with, I saw that.
But then Tarantino rescues him.
Yeah.
With Pulp
I was about to say, it's going to be interesting when your kids watch Pulp Fiction. No.
Yeah. my mom came to visit, and I made her watch Inglorious Bastards and
Oh,
Django
wow.
Unchained. Good shit. And I didn't
How
tell
did
her
your-
what she was getting into. And
Oh
half
my
the time
God.
there's great funny dialogue and the acting is
Yeah.
incredible and the
Mhm.
stories are both interesting. It's just so much
Yeah.
violence and so many F
Oh, yeah.
words. But my mother
Yeah.
is not one that's afraid of the F word. So I'm
Oh,
not
okay.
really worried about that. She actually just calling right now. So
Hi, Ma.
so look who's talking. Look who's talking now. And then I showed them Oh God.
Oh God. What movies? Oh
Okay,
God.
so Oh God, they remade it, but Oh God, the original. I was like 5 years old, 6 years old. Oh God is George Burns. Okay.
Okay.
And John Denver, who sang
Mhm.
Rocky Mountain High. You know John Denver?
Oh yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah,
I know
okay.
John Denver.
Okay, so
Yeah, yeah.
John Denver was the lead actor in this movie. And he was
Okay.
excellent. He's excellent. He works at a
Oh wow.
supermarket
Okay.
and he's kind of a loser and he's kind of a down his luck. And God comes to him. Only he can see God. It's kind of like God Almighty with
Bruce Almighty.
Bruce Almighty.
Yeah.
Bruce Almighty is a
Mhm.
remake of Oh God.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Oh God is the original.
Got
And
it.
my kids like that. Now there is Oh God
Okay.
Book 2 and then Oh God You Devil, where he plays the devil and God. He plays both
Wait,
characters.
so John Denver gets the powers of God
No,
in that
God
movie?
talks to him and says, "You need to tell people that I exist and to stop being terrible to each other." And he's like, "But they're not going to listen to me." He says, "Well, why not?" He said, "I'm just some guy from the supermarket." He says, "So what? Who was Jesus? He was just some guy." So he's like, "But no one's going to believe that I talked to you." And so he has to go to like the radio station. And he's like, "God spoke to me through the radio in my car." And it's like, "Oh, okay." And he has to kind of prove it. And eventually God does things to help him prove to other people that he's real. And he ends up calling out like an evangelist during his televangelism thing. And so they sue
Mhm.
him. And the only way he can get out of it is they give him a list of questions that only God could answer. It's like 100 pages. And they lock him in a hotel room with God, who they can't see, but he sees. And God
Yeah.
goes through the questions and he's like, "Oh, these tricky bastards." And he's like, "Oh, I'll give him this one." And he basically goes into court and God shows up in court. I think you'll like it. It's a very
Oh yeah.
fun,
No, I don't
light
know that I've ever
movie,
seen that.
but it was
How the kids like it?
they liked it. They liked it, right?
Okay.
It's my kid is like 8, 18, and 3, right? He's all those things. So like
Yeah.
he'll be in the middle of Madden and he'll have begged me to play Madden over and over. Fine, you can play Madden. And I'll look over, I'll be in the other room and I'll look up and I'll see the TV hasn't moved. He's on like
Okay.
team edit, build your own custom team, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you doing? I look over and he's got the controller and he's leaning over watching Pinkalicious on the iPad with my daughter. So like my daughter,
I don't know
she's
what
anywhere.
Pinkalicious is.
Well, it's basically a cartoon with a girl that loves the color pink.
Oh,
which is not an
okay.
8-year-old boy's favorite show, but if it's in the vicinity of my son, like I'll be literally playing Madden with him head to head, and Bluey will be on an iPad, and I'll be like waiting for him to call his play, and I'll look over, and he's just like, and I'm like,
distracted.
You've seen that episode of Bluey 30 times. Why are you being distracted by that? He's like, "Oh, I don't know. And so I have to physically move that out of the room. It's very interesting. Like he loves this game, but if there's some cartoon, and it literally can be a cartoon he's seen 100 times.
That's so wild.
We have a comment here. "Hey Scott, I called Dave Meinstein. Can I call in and talk to you about it?" Absolutely. How does he call in and talk about Mayor Young?
You know what?
On the line.
You would have to. There's a link.
Give him the invite. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mayor
we can
Young,
do the invite.
Mayor Young will give you the invite.
I'm gonna put it. I'm
really
gonna put it into chat.
Oh, he's gonna put it into chat, and then you can connect. Anyone can connect. There's no rules here. I'm sure someone will call up and have something terribly nasty to say to us, but it's okay. we can take it.
There it is. Bam.
I did get this
so
message.
If you click that
somebody
link,
reached out to Dave Meinstein, who was, for those who don't know, Dave was one of the original hosts of Portal on G4. When G4 launched,
Oh, wow.
Dave created a show called Portal, where he, very much like Mr. Rogers, had a show where he would go to the neighborhood of make-believe and have all these
Mhm.
characters. Well, Dave would be Portal Dave, and he had portals into World of Warcraft and EverQuest, and he had characters in the game who would report,
Mhm.
"Hey, Dave, I'm over here where they're about to go down and destroy an entire forest. There's a giant ogre there, blah, blah, blah." But he would write it all. And by the time this show was in its final season, he had like 3 or 4 writers. They had so many characters. Derek Snowden, who used to do stuff with us, he did some voices. A bunch of people did voices. But Dave was very protective of his scripts. And
Oh, really?
oh, yes. And he took it
Wow.
very seriously. And Dave has not been seen since G4 went up the air the first time anywhere.
Wow. Really?
Disappeared. And he had fans. And when I say Portal was
Yeah.
one of the most popular shows, it was one of the most cultish. You know, there's always a show on a
Mhm.
network where it's like, that's the
Yeah.
show that people for
Yeah.
years later will talk about. I believe
Mhm.
Portal is that show because it was a peek into Dave's mind. And so everyone's always wondered what happened to Dave. We want to peek into his mind.
Yeah.
But Dave has disappeared. And so this person, based Commodore, he says he's got some insight into this situation. So I think we
Oh,
should
well,
let him,
listen, I'm
let him
excited.
tell us.
Call in,
Me
base
too.
Commodore.
Call in.
Click that link.
Mayor Young, what do you know about AI?
Well, not any. I would say not much more probably than your average person. Even though I do happen to be, dating somebody that is
You're dating somebody who's made of artificial intelligence, just
that
an
is
AI?
that is for all intents and purposes an expert in artificial intelligence.
I thought you were actually saying that you had some
I'm
kind of
dating a
side
computer.
relationship,
Yes.
with like a bot.
Yes. I
You're
have
like, I love Nia, but there I have needs, and my needs revolve around Splatoon, cheat codes, and frequently asked questions. And so I needed to create an
what it
AI
is.
girlfriend that likes Splatoon.
Hey, man, listen, I'm not here to
That's
judge
where we're
people
going.
anymore.
I'm telling you, that's where we're going. You're gonna have an app.
It's so funny.
And in with your messages app, right? And with your messages, all the people you chat with, one of those people is going to be all the different virtual AI friends that you have. And one might be like the Bing or the Google or the search friend, right? Hey, what is the boiling temperature of molasses, right? And they'll give you the information. You won't go to Google. You won't even have to type it. You just, what's the boiling point of molasses? Boom. And it'll be right. None of this. I asked Siri what year the Patriots were founded. The Patriots played the Rams and lost 22-17 on January. No, the AI will get smart enough that it'll replace search engine, but then you'll have friends. You'll have your Call of Duty friend who's not a real friend, but he'll be the one that says new map out, cheat code, update your drivers, new tip. And it'll be essentially the Tiger Claw bot. We're all going to have a Tiger Claw in our phone who will immediately tell us instantly, I'm sorry, Tiger Claw, your time is running out. The instantly when trailer drops, when news about Biden stammering, if you're into the Biden stammering crowd, you'll get instant videos of Biden stammering. I promise. That's coming.
Man.
And you'll have these different friends, right? And maybe you'll have one friend that's just into cooking and blah, blah, blah. So AI is coming, and every day I'm reading about people who are like, holy shit, I'm a programmer and this AI is making everything so much faster for me. If I have any question, it's like asking a professor privately who's answering and helping. So like it's already taking care of photo stuff. It's doing the audio stuff. If you notice in our chat room, you'll see Tiger Claw has been linking, Biden, Trump, and Obama playing games together, and the AI is synthesizing their voices and their dialogue all with AI, and it sounds like them, and then they're using kind of basic graphics, but it will be, I want a video of Biden, Obama, and Trump and Putin playing Call of Duty, and Putin wins, and Trump gets mad, and Obama ends up bombing them all with a drone. And then I want it to end with Obama having those sunglasses that come sliding up and the cigarette joint out of his mouth. Like, you'll just say that to your friend in the AI, and it'll spit you out this video, and now you're a meme lord. Like, you'll be creating content without having to create content. So what does this do to all these companies? Company A makes a video game and hires 1,000 artists to create incredibly rich, detailed landscapes. Well, now there might be a program that can do that. Where are those 1,000 people going to go? And by the way, it's their work that was fed into the AI beforehand. So even though you're not hiring Joe, the 20-year veteran of graphic arts, you're getting all of Joe's work of 20 years, which was secretly fed into the AI that's now spitting out Joe's work as my work. That's happening now, right? What's going to happen in 5 years? What's going to happen to the music industry? What's going to happen to the publishing industry? Who's going to hire a writer to do just basic beat news, right? You won't. The AI will do the beat. It'll look at the crime blotter, and that comes from the police station, and it'll spit out as good at editing as any writer you could have. Like, there's going to be a layer of stuff that's easy to get rid of first, right? Like manuals, instruction booklets, non-creative stuff, because the creative stuff will be like, that's wonky. But the other stuff, it's precision based, right? It's so now you get that up, and then you get to the creative stuff. And I'm telling you, there's not going to be a writer that's going to be able to compete with an AI that, if I'm a director or a producer and I'm saying, give me a script that starts out as a love story and ends as a sci-fi adventure. I want the actress to be this. I want the actor to be this. I want the tone to be this. I want this. And what happens when a farm of computers can make the movie? And now you don't need a cinematographer, because you have all of the best cinematographers' work ever created put into the AI. You don't need the artists. You don't need the writers. You don't need the actors anymore. The actors are all 3D models. And by the way, they all look like the best version of Cary Grant, and the best version of Bruce Willis, and the best version of Sir Laurence Olivier, right? What is going to happen when those walls get knocked down? I'm telling you, are we going to have jobs? Because it all ties in. Bernie Sanders saying we need the 4-day work week, right? How can you do 4 days? Where's going to happen to the work? Well, it seems like we're going to run out of work. A lot of stuff. And then, and I'm talking about the brain work. We've already gotten to the fact there are robots that are going to do all the physical work.
Right. It's interesting, just because I know for myself, and right now, at least what I can say right now. My light decided it wanted to go out.
You don't want us to know.
Look. Look.
That looked like somebody who didn't want his identity to be known. And almost like
start voice synthesizing, right? Just like, no. So right now, it feels as though the stuff is amazing, and obviously it's blowing all of our minds, because this is a threshold that has been reached that we haven't been at before. But currently, like, it feels as though when something is like art, for instance, on the art side of things, I feel like I can tell when a AI has done art. And that's not to say that it's not good. It's just that
some of it.
There's a certain
some of it. But I can say to the AI, oil painting, not perfect, medium beginning level. I mean, I mean, if you sift through Midjourney, it's impossible to tell what stuff some computer artist that works at Infinity Ward created versus what was spit out by the AI. Now, there's certain styles that when someone posts it to Twitter and it's like, oh, look, it's Ben Franklin on an iPhone. You're like, oh, I know,
Yeah.
I can tell that's AI. But
Yeah. Because
that
Ben
doesn't
Franklin
even matter. Who cares that
yeah.
you can tell, right? I can tell.
I mean,
I can tell that this Egg McMuffin was made a month ago and put into a box and sold to me at Costco. Still a delicious Egg McMuffin.
well, but
And
I guess that here's the thing where it's like I feel like at the point we're at right now, it kind of feels like it'll be more of an assist tool than is like taking over
Yes.
the job,
Yeah,
and so it's like it's like yeah, we're still gonna have less artists because normally, like for like in the things that we're talking about from a creative standpoint,
15
if
years. 15 years from now.
and then that's it, done, no more.
I think that's being generous.
Wow, man, that's
Just
interesting.
in the past
'Cause-
couple of weeks. I mean, I follow this religiously on Twitter. I follow a lot of Chat GPT and OpenAI,
Right.
and I'm like reading and I'm seeing examples. And there's a guy that's just pushing the boundaries, and every single day it feels like someone's going, oh. So like we're just scraping now, right? And it was released a few weeks ago.
right.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you, a year
Yeah.
from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, think about the problems that we're facing now. And it's funny, people, a lot of it, my wife's a high school principal now.
Right.
So I constantly send her these things like homework. And just today, like, why are we giving kids homework? Right? Like, maybe this is the result of pushing people to like, you need to do this thing to prove you're smart. Oh, well, really? I'm smart. Okay. I'm smart. I pass all your tests. I'm 100. I get 1,000 in every test you can give me. And why is society deciding that in the future, this won't be there? So we can't I have a problem with people who are like, you let your kid look at an iPad? You give your kid an iPad? Really? How long you let that kid on the iPad? So if I gave my kid a book and my kid spent 7 hours reading Tolstoy or whatever, War and Peace, whatever, would anyone be like, I can't believe you let him in that book 10 hours. 10 hours in that book to read War and Peace? Really? No one would say that. They would be like,
no,
that kid's a genius. Oh my God.
Right.
Well, the iPad is a bunch of books and it's a bunch of programming and it's a bunch of questions and it's a bunch of answers and it's communication and it's art. And so this idea that the iPad is some evil being that can't be given to a kid to placate them. Why not? And why are we placing so much priority over people throwing a hard ball wrapped in leather at each other? Like that's some kind of wholesome thing that we should praise fathers and sons and kids for doing. Throw this ball at the kid. You might hit him in the head because he can't catch yet, but you guys will grow and bond together in a way that can't be done over online games. Take this ball, but I'm not an athlete. Just throw it. Climb this rope. Like I'm thinking about like PE. My son came home one day and he's like, the PE teacher made us do wall sits for 20 minutes and I couldn't do it. I was like, what's a wall sit? He's like, you have to pretend you're sitting. So you like put your back against the wall. He was 6 at the time. And I was like, a 20-minute
Why would you do that to a 6? Yeah, that's crazy.
Because he's not a PE instructor. He's a assistant football coach trying to pick up extra money. So they say to the PE, they say to the assistant football coach, go teach PE. And he's like, honestly, yeah, you guys do wall sits, 20 minutes.
Right.
Just
to get
I got 20 minutes. But that's what I think is going on, right? So like,
that's crazy.
Like we need to reinvent school. I feel like this Chat GPT, this AI, this being able to, you can now use this thing to pass the medical board, right? That's how good it is, right? It'll get you that medical license, right? Just by using AI. And again, are we going to get to a point where, of course, people are going to cheat? So how many doctors and lawyers are going to have that really don't know anything, right? And they'll just be like, yeah, but I got AI. And then the question becomes...
but that's what they do now. Doctors don't remember, and lawyers don't remember everything. They reference books. And if you can use an AI to reference stuff quicker, that's better, not worse.
Automation was always going to eliminate most jobs. We have to move to a society that works on what we want, work on ourselves, not for corporation. Right. The problem is the corporations keep dangling the carrot of like security and stability and benefits, and all the while they're undoing all those things behind your back, right? With lobbyists, like they're like, oh yeah, come. Like I was just reading about all the people that lost their jobs. I was talking to Nia about all those people that lost their jobs at Amazon, and they said that this is not like, oh crap, we made a mistake. It's just like they hire up, squeeze the life out of these people, and then they're like, oh, just when you're about to get into the next bracket of pay, oh, we got to do a little layoff. We bit off too much. Meanwhile, their CEOs are, still making huge, salaries, and executives huge salaries. I do think that the internet has given us the long tail, meaning it used to be if you weren't part of a corporation, you were a real small business. But as we've seen, the internet has allowed people, anyone from drop shippers to Instagram models to whatever, to globally generate revenue, right? So you can sell a PDF of your 10 factoids about, how to make nitrogen ice cream. And if you can sell 1,000 $10 PDFs, that's money. So I feel like the internet has given us this ability to plug in our enthusiasm, our passion, our ability, and generate enough to give us a good living. We don't need to have a private jet, right? Not everyone. I mean, some people want the private jet. I personally, I'm honest to God, I'm not interested in a private jet. That is not an ambition.
No, I'm with you on that too.
But there are real people that are like, I need that jet, yo. I need that jet.
100%.
So, and I don't really have anything against that. Like, that's some serious motivation. Like, there are some people that are doers. They need to get up every day and accomplish a bunch of stuff. And God love them, because when their list is empty, they just start throwing new shit on their list, even if they don't have to do it. They got to be doing something. I'm not like that. So I definitely don't begrudge people, but it would be nice to have a society where those people can go off and do what they want and make enough money to buy villages and have their own society, but let the rest of us just have some basic, like the ability to live basic. It does feel like we've lost that. Like my parents were able to like work and have a house and, retire. And it just feels like that's so far away from reality for people now.
100%. But at the same time, I think it was like the sense of community that was had in our society was completely different in that time than it is now. Like, like your our parents in the past, could potentially go work for a company and feel secure in that job and feel as though that company did genuinely have their best interests in mind. Now, don't get me wrong, the company was still about making money and you couldn't mess that up. But if you did your job and did your part to make sure that that company was successful, you could feel comfortable in the fact or in the idea that that company, when your time came to an end, would be taking care of you in the way that it was supposed to. And you would have the things you needed just to, support your family and have your little house, like your little piece of the pie. Like you said, just to live, live. Like, it's not extravagant, but in this day and age, people will look at you silly to have any kind of faith in anyone looking out for you that's not you. It's not even about companies. It's literally, people don't trust their spouses, let alone companies and all this kind of stuff. Like, it's like, it's wild, man. It is a really strange thing to see and to witness, especially with us having experienced it in a different way. Like, it doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but
if you were to take,
might as well be another lifetime.
If you were to take a box, right, and in the box there were going to be 1,000 marbles, and those 1,000 marbles represent gamers. Okay, 2006 when we did our show last, what would the makeup of those marbles be by age and gender, like in terms of like over 30 and under 30 and male, female? 2006 and now. I think have to add new marbles, right? Because there are
100%.
Them.
You're right.
We've changed as a society. Like you can't even the labels are now changed. So the marble makeup But I feel like the tip was starting in 2006 because of mobile, right? Moms
Right.
playing Words with Friends and
Mhm.
Slingo and all
Right.
Pictionary on the phone. So
Right.
that
The
Candy
Wii.
Crush and the Wii, it started to like
Mhm.
go. And then also you have the generation of gamers getting older and having kids. Like when I
Mhm.
started All Game, I was playing mostly with people my age and maybe a few
Mhm.
years older. And that was it. There were
Mhm.
no 50-year-old
Yeah.
gamers when I started, very
Mm-mm.
few.
Absolutely
And
not.
now when I'm
Yeah.
playing in Call of Duty, the voice
Mhm.
coming through the mic is either
Mhm.
10
Right.
or
Right.
60 and every
Right.
range in between, right? So like
Yeah.
gaming has kind of grown, and I feel like it is this it is a very unique thing. My dad was not a gamer. He didn't
No,
grow, there
nor was
didn't
my dad.
exist video games, right? That
Mm-mm.
will go away forever. Everyone will grow up a
Mhm.
gamer. And
And
so
it's
how
like
does that impact things?
I have literally a list of games that are like my retirement games list. Like the same way how you like think about like, oh, okay, like people are like, oh, well, I got these books that I've been meaning to read, and when I retire, I'm gonna go and read those stack of books. Like I got a list of games that are just like, you know what? I'm not gonna get I don't have the time to play that right now. But when I retire, boy, I'm gonna go back to Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt, and I'm gonna play that game to completion. You know?
Right. Right. That is kind of the cool thing
Uh-oh,
about
did I
what's
lose you?
going on with gaming. Oh, I don't know. No, I think we're good. You there?
Oh no, you're here. Yeah, I got you now.
I was saying
Yeah,
one
I'm
of the
here.
things
Can
that
you see
is
me?
good is that we do have this resurgence, right? From all sides, from the
Mhm.
modding and indie community, all the way to publishers repackaging their old library, building it into these packages for gaming services. So the history of gaming isn't just well, I can't play that anymore. Like you're going to be able to play everything from history. I believe at some point the catalog of
Mhm.
games, because everything will be streamable, it'll all
Mhm.
be there. So the library will never go away. And it is
Mhm.
kind of fun to be able to play games that you probably couldn't have played years ago because your computer couldn't have run it, or the game was
Mhm.
really expensive at the time. I found being a patient gamer, before you know it,
Mhm.
games that were full price are
Yeah.
now half price. And
100%.
before you know it, they're $10. And you're like, oh,
Yep.
I didn't remember that game came out. And they're much like the movie cycle, they're pushing them through that cycle faster, right?
Mhm.
They're like that they spend a
100%.
lot of marketing. If they can't get you in the first
Mhm.
window, they're trying to get you in the second. So I feel like as
Mhm.
consumers, as gamers, we're winning. That's one of the other good things.
100%.
There's a lot
100%.
more content, but I do think it's interesting that people right now are saying that Sony is the bad guy, right? Nintendo and Microsoft made a 10-year deal to keep Call of Duty on Nintendo platform, which shows their good faith effort of, hey, we're not going to just pull Activision content into Microsoft only. And
Yeah.
Sony, by all accounts, is being a petulant child, trying to basically create smoke where there is none, because they're
Uh-huh.
like, this is bad. That's
Right.
bad. And to be honest, I look through this Blizzard, Activision, BattleNet library of game.
Mhm.
I mean, it's Warcraft and like Overwatch, I guess, but like that's it. They don't have like what happened. Activision used to have games. They've got a few big properties, and that's it. Like Spider-Man's not
Yeah.
theirs. Activision used to be Spider-Man. Activision used to make
Right.
Prototype. Activision used to
Yeah.
make a lot of games,
Yeah.
and now they've kind of lost all that, and they make so much money from Overwatch and Warcraft and Call of Duty that they're probably
Yeah.
like, that's just not even worth it. Like literally the money comes
I
in
think that's what it
so
boils down
fast and
to.
furious that
Yeah.
they're like, what are we wasting our time on all these crappy mid-tier games? It's subscription
Mhm.
world now. And I feel like Call of
Mhm.
Duty with their battle pass and World of
Mhm.
Warcraft, it really is and it's probably why they're for sale. But I feel like we are literally so close to this happening with EA. I feel like they're the next, because once they lose their sports licenses,
You,
what is
you said we're so
EA?
close. What?
To EA being the next one that this happens to,
Oh,
Electronic
yeah.
Arts. Like what is EA?
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah.
Tiger Woods, Madden, the Warner Brothers. Remember, they used to be
Yeah.
Batman, but they're not
Maybe
even
Mass
that.
Effect.
That's EA. I always thought of that as a Microsoft thing. an Xbox game, not so much an EA
No,
thing. But I guess
didn't
it's
EA buy BioWare? I think EA bought BioWare, so
so
technically
they have
it is.
BioWare.
Yeah, I think so. But
EA
still,
is The
like Mass
Sims. Oh,
Effect.
right. They have Star Wars. Right. EA has Star Wars too. But
Oh
again,
yeah,
it's
they
just
do
a
have Star
license.
Wars.
It's just a
Yeah,
license that, believe me,
yeah.
LucasArts will be happy to take the license money from anybody else. EA is not
So what
special.
do you think, Scott? Like, so from your perspective, is Sony making too much
Well, they know
or making too much
that
noise?
Call of Duty is a serious piece of inventory. Like it's like a
Yeah,
bedrock of gaming. It's
yeah,
annual.
yeah.
And as long as Microsoft's saying, hey, it'll be sold on PlayStation, what's their beef? Their beef is, oh, well, they're just saying that and they're going to eventually put it on Game Pass and no one will buy it if it's on Game Pass. All it does is cannibalize sales. Well, not on the PlayStation. If it's on the Xbox Game Pass and I have a PlayStation 5, the fact that it's on Game Pass isn't going to get me to go buy a $400 console to play it for free. I'm going to spend $60 to play it on my PlayStation. Or guess what? Long you make it free, compete with them on that front. Create a PlayStation Pass. They won't do it because they need that
Yeah.
first party revenue. They need God
Right.
of War to sell what it
Right.
sells.
Right. Yeah. And it's interesting to watch the discussion, and it's like, especially in line with the whole idea, people still have their console kind of tribalism kind of thing going on or whatnot, and like watching people with different perspectives is almost like watching people talk about politics. It's like, depending on what camp you're in, you spin the story in a completely different way, and it's hard to get to hear people that are truly just have an objective point of view about it, that don't have a dog in the fight.
Well, it's interesting because if you look at Nintendo, they're almost like looking at Sony like, what's your problem? We're
Right.
I mean, we sell Mario. There's no Mario on the Game Pass. So just keep making your exclusive. Stop worrying about what Microsoft's doing. If you're so worried about them, then, put out a competing platform. But it does feel like they're just being assholes to try and stop this deal from happening. And, I don't know. I have a PlayStation. I don't really care either way. The only console I don't have is a Switch. And what's hilarious is around my son's birthday time, he did not say anything to me. My wife is like, oh, I think I know what he wants. I'm like, what does he want? She's like, oh, he wants a Switch. I'm like, what? My son, what? He wants the Nintendo. I'm like, why? He has iPad with Game Pass with iPad Arcade, Apple Arcade. He has Xbox Game Pass. He has a Xbox One. He has a PlayStation. He has a PC. Why does he need a Switch? Tell me why he needs a Switch. And she's like, I don't know. That's what he said he wants. So I look at my son. Why do you need a Switch? Well, it's kind of. I'm like, dude, you have more gaming choices at your fingertip than ours in a millennia. And you need another console so that you can let it sit in the corner. I was so mad because it's like he plays Madden and MLB The Show and now Call of Duty and Fortnite. That's pretty much it. That and him and my daughter love that. They always go back to that unreliable delivery service. It's like a free. It's on Game Pass, but it's basically little characters that have like no gravity. They kind of like fall all over the place, and you can like get in cars and grab a fire extinguisher and pull it, and you go flying up in the air. But it's multiplayer. You can have 4 people at the same time, and my kids get in that game and have a lot of fun with it. Anyway, they play all these games, and so he doesn't need a Switch. And the other thing that makes me crazy, and I had to really drop the hammer on him. One day I walked in and he has his iPad open and he's going like this. He's going like this. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm getting gold. Look. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, look, every time I do this, I get gold. And I see the ad thing at the top. I'm like, that's just an ad game. He's like, yeah, but look at how much gold I have. Look at the chicken. Look at the chicken. I'm like, all right, here's the deal. If I catch you with another ad game on the iPad, I'm throwing this iPad. I'm going to take this iPad and throw it out the window. You have iPad Arcade, which has no ads in it. It
Yeah.
has literally 1,000 games. I know, but look at the chicken. Blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, this
Look
is
at
why.
the chicken.
Yeah, look at the chicken. This is why kids. I also had to have another. I guess I should say this. So my son playing Call of Duty with me, and my wife hears him talking on the headset, and I'm not in the game. I had already gotten out or something. I was taking a break. She's like, "Who's he talking to?" I'm like, "I don't know, probably someone on his squad." She goes, No talking to strangers." I'm like, "Well, he's just no talking. I'm like, "Oh, I mean, like if he was playing baseball and it's like, hey, the ball's got no talking to the kid on your team. The ball's going to come and hit him in the head, but don't warn him because he's a stranger." No, you're playing a game together. As long as you're not talking. Well, the next day she heard him. I guess I had gone to work and he's playing Call of Duty, and she hears him say to someone, "Oh, I'm 8." And I guess the guy said,
Oh.
he heard his voice, and the guy was like, "Oh, how old are you?" And my son said, "I'm 8." And his name is the kid from LA. So he's like, "Oh, are you from LA?" He's like, "Yeah." So my wife is like, "Oh, that's it."
Freaking out. Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, you don't want to, nobody needs to know how old you are. He's like, "Well, he asked me." He's like, "Well, you're a really smart 8-year-old. I'm like, "Yeah, no, that's not the point. You're a smart 8-year-old. You don't talk to people about anything other than that." And I said, to be honest with you, the game has tools built in so that you can actually like click on things and communicate that way. You don't need the voice mic, but it is really annoying to get into a match with someone who won't talk to you and who's right there.
Right.
So I was like, here's the deal. You can talk if I'm in the game. If we're both in the game, you can talk to people, but when you're playing alone, only using the thing. And he was happy because he thought he was going to lose the game for good. So the next day we're playing, and I am trying to find something, and he is driving the boat, and I'm like, where are you taking the boat? We need to go over here. And he's like, "Oh, the boat's over there." And he's like arguing with me over the mic. And I'm like, really? You're going to argue with me over a live game? And so I just he ended up killing me accidentally or something like that. So I just got out.
Accidentally.
He kept playing the game with the other guy in the squad, and I leave the game, and I hear him talking, and he knows I'm out of the game, and I'm like, he knows I'm not in the game, and he's talking to someone else, even though it was just about the game. The rule is, if I'm not in the game, no talking to strangers. So instead of going in there and, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna let him finish." And so I let him finish. He comes out and he's all excited to tell me what happened. He tells me, I said, "I just want you to know, you broke the rules. We're gonna have to have some changes." And he literally, and I tell him, "You were talking to this guy even though I wasn't in." And he squeezes me and he's like, "I know, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "You're 8. I get it. Like, you're 8. You don't understand that sometimes when an adult hears a young kid's voice, it makes them uncomfortable, not you, but them."
Right.
And they might not want to say anything because then they're talking to an 8-year-old, right? So a lot of times they're just uncomfortable. And like he had sent a message to Kill Assist to like join him in a game. And I was like, no, you can't start messaging adult men saying, "Join me in my game." Because even though it's Kill Assist and he knows me and it's no big deal, he might feel uncomfortable jumping into a game with some 8-year-old kid that it's just weird. And I said, and he was really sad. And I said, "Look, it's just, I get it. You're 8, but that's why you're not ready yet to understand context, right? And you can be tricked and fooled." And he's like, I get it. I said, "So no more talking. No more talking." He's like, "Okay." So I feel like it's a good way to teach. It's like a teachable moment, right? Like, and he's so smart that I know he gets it. I know he's not doing it on purpose. He's just trying to be a good teammate, right? So he's trying to talk. But he doesn't understand that there's a bigger world, right? You're a little snow globe. Is not reality. And so it's hard. And I remember all the shows that I did where people are like, "You can't be telling kids they should be playing those games." And I still don't believe that. I when I was a kid,
Right.
I had a plastic gun. It looked like a gun. It was shaped like a gun. And when I shot it, BBs came out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a killer. I'm not even a violent person at all.
Right.
I
Right.
love these shooting games. I'm not violent.
Right.
You can't
No, I
tell
mean
me that shooting
it's
games cause violence. It's now I will
no.
say that if your kid is messed up in the head and he locks himself in the room and plays shooting games all day, good luck. There's going to be trouble probably because
Right.
some kids
Right.
are not all balanced, right? So it's a
Right.
per
It has
per
nothing to do with the
person.
game. That has to do with the individual.
Yeah, and the parents.
For real. Kel's
Yeah.
in chat. He says, "Yo, when I would hear a little kid's voice, I would just ask them how old their mom was and if they seen her in the shower. Don't let your kids on the mic." LOL.
Right.
And then
Seriously.
B-Mop says he needs to start collecting gamer tags from kids at school.
Kel says, I played Rainbow Six with Scott. I know he's not a killer. I'm not good at this game. I have died in DMZ in so many, like that movie with Tom Cruise and what's her name? Tomorrow, Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh, Edge of Tomorrow? Yeah, I like that movie.
Yeah. So like DMZ is like that. You get to relive that day. It's like, here I am in DMZ again. And I die sometimes so quickly because you're kind of at the mercy of your squad. But what I love about games now, and I feel like this is one of the biggest differences between gaming today and gaming 20 years ago. Gaming 20 years ago, it's you go in and you have to get the mission, and it's literally like a maze, right? You're here, the cheese is there, there's some traps that get you caught here, but the maze is the maze, and it was designed by someone. Now you're dropped into this world, and because there's AI and real players, the dynamic changes every time. Like the trains in DMZ are filled with amazing loot, great weapons, money, kill streaks, all that kind of stuff. So if you're near it, it becomes this let's go, but not everyone on your team wants to go. So now you have, maybe it's just you, and then you get on the train and I'm literally like, hey, there's cool stuff here. So I'm like getting all this stuff and like your large backpack, 3-plate armor. Oh, this is amazing. Dude, I'm going to get you this. And then I pull it up. All right, I'm going to get a vehicle. I'm going to map where I put it. So I pull up the map and I select the vehicle. I'm going to jump off here. And then when I close the map, there's a dude standing there like this. And I'm like, dude, no. And then boom, all the stuff that I just got is now his. But you can say to him, friendly, revive me. And he can revive you, like let you join his team. And now you switch to his team. So there are sometimes where we'll have 6 of us. It's a 3-man squad. But if you get killed early on and you're like, hey, friendly, let's team up, they'll invite you. And now is 4 of you or 5 of you or 6 of you. But some people are vicious, brutal people who will literally sit there at the expo waiting for people to show up to leave. And you'll wait, you'll look around, and there's some motherfucker with that 99 level sniper armor piercing. And he's just like, F you, motherfucker. And just, you see that little glint. Like, I'm dead. And it's so good.
It's rough.
It's like crack. It really is. That game is so good. I feel like they have figured it out, like the balance on it. And so, I'll read Reddit for
Rainbow Six.
No, DMZ, the Warzone.
Oh, DMZ. Oh, got you.
I'm talking all this. I'm talking about is DMZ, right? So, like in DMZ, you get paired up with random people, or you can be in your own squad. But you're kind of constantly saving stuff to take out. And it's just a good blend of PvP versus player versus AI, right?
Yeah.
And so I'll go to like Reddit because they'll have threads where it's like, this is where every key is, this is where every secret is to find. And there'll be threads where it's like, I can't believe I have to go to work today. All I want to do is just sit and play this game. I can't believe I have kids. I can't believe I have a wife. I can't. And it's like everyone in the thread, like, me too. What the hell? And I haven't seen a game in a while that's grabbed people the way this is, it's interesting because it's like Battlefield is pretty much the same game.
Right.
But right now, Call of Duty is literally got it by the throat.
It's what everybody plays.
It's crazy. And you don't play it, right?
It's crazy because I don't. And that's the thing. Like, I missed I just was like on the wrong cycles for Call of Duty. And then when it went to the whole like
this is free.
my
You should
yeah,
play
no,
it. It's on
I
every platform.
I know,
I would like
you
to
know,
get a
it's one of the,
squad with me, you, and some of the other guys. It's a fun squad-based game because you can talk and you kind of spend most of the game just looking through buildings for stuff.
I mean, if it, I would definitely do that with you and, you know, whoever else you wanted to do it with. I would give it a shot. But man, I tell you that like I think it was just one of those things where, you know, because I played or I went back to, you know, Call of Duty
But
when
it's not
it
even
made the
Call of Duty. That's
transition.
the thing. It's a PvP, PvE shooter, right? Just think of it in
No,
those
I
terms.
guess right. And I guess what I'm saying is I went back when it first started transitioning to the more games of service online thing. And I just was like, you know, I don't know. It's like it wasn't doing it for me like how it used to. But what you're talking about definitely does sound different. And still at the same time too, it's like I think there's a difference between playing it with your friends versus just getting into it on your own. And like, you know, I think just the gameplay itself just wasn't as compelling for me at the time. And you know, part of it too, I think, was about stuff that was going on in the world in that moment.
Right.
And it was just like, you know, I just don't know that I want to
be killing people
shooting.
in the Middle East.
Yeah, right. You know, I'm just like,
well, I didn't realize,
I
but
think
Al
they're
Mazrah,
good.
which is where the map is Syria. It's the northern part of Syria, I guess. So it is a real place.
Yeah, and so it's just like, hence why I'm like, okay, I get my shooter fix through Splatoon, which absolutely looks nothing like anything that's happening out in the world for real, and also happens to be a really good and innovative shooter. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the other part of it, which, you know, I mean, not everybody knows, but you know, those that know, and it's like, man, like this is different and cool, and yeah, that's where I get that fix. But like I said, I would definitely be super interested in joining a DMZ lobby with you and whoever else.
It'll be fun. And they're releasing it. They just announced that Call of Duty is coming to iOS, so it'll be on the iPad.
Oh wow!
Yeah. All right. Crazy. So I'm going to see you. Hey, Marco. What happened to the guy that was going to call in about Dave?
I don't know. Didn't call in. Yeah, like disappeared from the lobby.
Hey, Marco.
Yeah. Hello,
Marco. Also, last time we talked about it, I said, hey, anyone wants to help? There's lots of stuff. I'm getting close. I'm moving out of my facility on April 1st. And once I get out of that facility, that chapter will be closed, and I'll start to curate my schedule around streaming. My son and daughter both have said, I want to come on your show to talk about. He wants to talk about DMZ, Fortnite, MLB The Show. They just did their stress test. And she said she also wants to come on and talk. She does play. She has played what's the fighting game, Mortal Kombat, no, the one with the superheroes. She plays that fighting
Injustice.
game. Injustice. She
has
played that. She
game.
likes the Poison Ivy animation. The kill, the whatever you call it, the finishing move. And then she also is very lightly into The Sims. You know, it's a little hard for her to manage it because it's
I'm about to say she's pretty young to be playing The Sims.
When she was very little, I introduced them to The Sims, and her character actually caught fire because the barbecue caught fire, and it caused both her and my son to cry hysterically. So I kept it away for a long time. Yeah, she literally looked like she crawled into a fire. She was like on the ground, and I was cooking a steak on the barbecue, my character, and it left it there too long, and so the barbecue was on fire, and the fire spread to the rest of the place, and the little baby's like walking around the fire, and my son's like, ah! So yeah.
Wow.
It's Mako's. Mako's there. Mako's opened up his own business.
Hey, what up, Mako's?
In Swansea, I think, in England. Swansea, Swansea. It's like an
I don't know where that is.
It's over the river and through the woods.
That's fair. Across the pond.
And anyway, so as I said, anyone that wants to help can. BMOP has said he can help, and we have a budget. I have money from the NFTs that is going to go towards the show and towards content for the site. So and I think that I kind of almost want to do it like we did, like when I was a kid, we had a clubhouse. Like one of my friends had like a secret basement, and we were like, all right, we're going to go in the clubhouse. I'm like, all right. The older girl was like, this is how it is. I'm the president, vice president, secretary, treasurer. I'm like, well, what does that mean? Okay, treasurer, you're going to take the dollar from everyone. Every week, everyone brings a dollar. And then we're going to vote on what to do with the dollars we get. Candy, cookies, whatever. And we bring it, we keep it in the clubhouse. And anyone that wants to the clubhouse can come. But the dollar that the treasurer gets, treasurer can't spend it until we vote on it. I'm the president, so I'll bring the items to the floor, and the vice president will second, and then we'll blah, 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 blah. So I figure we should do that with the budget. We should be like, all right, we need editing. We need a show every week. So we need producer. So how much of this budget can go to those roles so that the people that give up a little bit of their time can have some money as a budget to help compensate them for their work, right? We don't want anyone to have to do all this work for free and not see anything out of it. And since there is money, let's figure out how people can get, and obviously it's not a career yet, but if we can take this money, create something and have it grow, then we see where it goes. All that money that's in there is to go to only to getting those tapes archived and up and creating content around those tapes. And it's going to probably be a computer here. I have fiber, which is super fast, so it'll be connected. And so that's the plan. So if there's anything you can do in that help, you want to host a show, you want to help do descriptions, whatever it is, just message us and pay us an ice cream. You can have ice cream. Although I've had to stop shipping ice cream because FedEx is just not reliable. So
really?
Well, I shipped ice cream 3 times and it didn't get to the people, and they wouldn't give me my insurance claim because it was not delivered because of weather, and that's not covered. Makos wants to know if we talked about Billy Mitchell. What happened with Billy Mitchell?
I don't know what happened with Billy Mitchell.
Oh, he passed away.
Yeah.
Billy passed away.
Oh, what?
Died. Yeah, Billy Mitchell died February 19th, 1936. William Landrum Mitchell was a U.S. Army officer regarded as the father of the United States Air Force. He died on February 19th.
What did he die from?
He was, let's see, Billy Mitchell died. He served in France during World War I. Death, hold on.
Like Billy Mitchell wasn't that old.
He wasn't? He got the congressional dates, death. Here we go. All right. On February 19th, 1936, Billy Mitchell died in New York City. He had a coronary occlusion.
Wait, 1936?
Yeah. Oh, wrong Billy Mitchell. Wrong Billy Mitchell. Wrong Billy Mitchell. All right, hold on. Wrong one. Wrong Billy Mitchell. All right. What happened with Billy Mitchell? He's not That's the host. All right, Billy Mitchell, gamer. Born 1965.
What happened?
He was born in Holyoke. He lives in Florida. What happened to him? Returned to gaming.
Let's see.
In January 2023, Jost made a video that showcased evidence in the form of an old photograph that clearly demonstrated that Mitchell did not play his claimed world record run on original hardware, despite claiming so, because the 8-direction joystick, as opposed to the original 4-direction joystick, would have made the game much easier to play. Jobst had previously been sued twice by Mitchell, with one claim seeking to defend himself. He set up a legal defense fund on GoFundMe to mitigate the financial damage. So basically, there's a picture, and the picture of Billy Mitchell playing on the cabinet is the cabinet that has the 8-way joystick, which didn't exist back then, Billy. It can't be the original. You busted again, motherfucker. Call up Mr. Awesome immediately.
There it is. Awesome. Invite him to the house. Yeah. Mr. Awesome is somewhere like, I told you.
So how do we find out more about this? Let's see. 8-way joystick.
I'm wondering who,
here it is. I have a video. How do I play this video, Marianne? I can put it in the same tab.
You can play it.
Right.
You can play it from present and then use it out the tab. Yeah, use the Chrome tab or wait, I'm sorry, using Chrome or what are you using?
All right, here we go. Present. Share screen. Chrome tab. I got it this time.
All right. Yeah. There you go. And then you can just put it right in.
Sued Twin Galaxies for defamation after they removed his high scores from their database and said he didn't achieve them on original hardware. For almost 4 years, this lawsuit has dragged on, and thankfully for everyone involved, it looks like it should be wrapping up and going to trial sometime this year. The crux of Twin Galaxies' defense so far has been centered around 2 videotapes that show Billy's high scores, and it's been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that the gameplay seen on these videotapes cannot come from an original Donkey Kong arcade. Instead, they must have come from an emulator. Billy Mitchell seems to have lied and said he played on an arcade machine when he in fact didn't. And this opens up the possibility for cheating in numerous ways. In his lawsuit against Twin Galaxies, Billy claims these videotapes don't matter because he achieved the scores live and he has witnesses. How is it possible that he performed them at a live event in front of hundreds of people if he faked it and actually played on an emulator? The videotapes must be fake or are not his actual gameplay, or should just be ignored because he has real people that say he really did it and they saw it happen, so it must be legit. As Billy said in his lawsuit, if everyone is lying, it must be a conspiracy akin to that of the Kennedy assassination. But here's the problem. The videotapes were the only tangible evidence these scores ever happened, so that's all anyone had to go off. Aside from the tapes, it was just people saying that it happened, which really doesn't cut it. There was no footage of Billy actually playing. There was nothing to indicate that he was even there or that he played at all. That is, until now. For the first time in 15 years, photos of Billy Mitchell at one of these events where he claims to have achieved one of his world records have surfaced. And I'm not going to beat around the bush. These photos absolutely destroy Billy's case. He is done. There is no more doubt Billy will lose his lawsuit. These photos do more damage than anything that has come before them, and I'm not exaggerating. Even if you disregard all of the videotape evidence, Billy's world records would still be disqualified and he would still be banned for lying just because of these photos. So how is that even possible? Let's find out. I really hope you enjoy.
It's so funny.
Now, legends, I am super excited because this video is sponsored by Magic Spoon.
Great.
Magic Spoon is a high-protein cereal that
Love
just
you,
might be
Magic
the
Spoon, but let's
greatest
get on
thing
with
humans
it.
have ever invented.
Right.
All right.
The link in the description,
All right, great.
which is a 1.047 million point score Billy achieved
To
in
me, it's
2000.
like obvious, right? Billy, in order to get the score, he's sitting in front of some computer. He's not sitting in front of an arcade machine. He's just playing and playing and playing and playing until he gets the score he wants, and then he has it recorded. Like, I can't believe this has gone on this long. How is it possible this has gone on this long?
And it's like, why is it that important to these people?
Because it's all he has, right? Like, it's the same reason Todd Rogers lied. They built themselves this identity, and if that's gone, who are they? Right? It's like me. I built myself this identity as this guy that talked about games. Once that was gone, it was like, who the hell am I? Right?
But then you went and built something else.
That's what I'm saying, right? Like,
yeah.
For them, though, that's
what you're supposed to do.
Well,
you build something else.
No, but that's the whole thing. They never built anything in the first place. They faked it, right?
Man, that's crazy.
And now the reveal is 30 years later.
Score. It's called this because this score is featured in the King of Kong documentary. The second is a 1.05 million point score Billy achieved in 2007, which is known as the mortgage broker's score. This is because he supposedly achieved it at a mortgage broker's convention. The videotapes for both of these scores show footage that isn't legitimate. This is a fact, and it's why he was banned. But aside from that, there was no other evidence that Billy even played the game, aside from a few people saying it happened. Well, to be completely fair, the King of Kong score actually does have 0 witnesses. It's the mortgage broker's score that Billy has a few witnesses for. And it's this mortgage broker's score that we now have photos for. So let's take a deeper look into this. Of course, as the tape shows the score wasn't done on an original arcade, we'd assume he didn't actually get the score at the event. But for a moment, let's forget all about the videotape and humor Billy's argument that the tapes don't matter. In his lawsuit against Twin Galaxies, Billy submitted 5 witness statements saying they were at the event when the score happened. 2 of these statements are from people who worked at the convention. They just say they were there when it happened, but they don't say they actually saw him get it. And they aren't even Donkey Kong players, so they have no idea what's going on anyway. We all know that Billy likes to lie in public, as he recently showed, so a random person thinking a score happened when it really didn't doesn't mean much. So we can disregard those 2
That's
statements.
Roy Schilt
This
move.
leaves 3 witnesses
roll
that
the
say they
machine over.
directly saw him get the world record. The first is from a guy called Richard Mallion. He says he watched Billy's score reach beyond 1 million points and that he saw him achieve his targeted score. Richard is actually a childhood friend of Billy's. In fact, he appeared opposite Billy in the school yearbook. But let's not hold that against him. While it is common for friends to lie for each other, let's not assume that's what happened. Now, when I'm deciding whether or not someone is trustworthy, what I do is create 2 columns. One for yes, I should trust them.
If you were to draw a picture of somebody that was untrustworthy, that's what he would look like. That's almost literally that face. Hello, AI.
He looks like he's trying to.
No, this is like, hey, AI, can you show me a picture of a person who's completely full of shit and lies for his friend? It would generate this as an artificial intelligence image.
Like, that picture definitely looks like a guy that's trying to sell you something that's not going to work.
Look at his title.
Business growth strategist.
Social media strategist.
Lie for each other. Let's not assume that's what happened. Now, when I'm deciding whether or not someone is trustworthy, what I do is create 2 columns. One for yes, I should trust them, and one for no, I should not. Then I put things into each column and weigh them up at the end. So first, I can see that Richard dresses really well. He has a nice suit and he has a nice watch. No one who dresses this well could lie. So I'm going to put that into the yes column. For the no column, there isn't much I found out about Richard that really concerns me, except for this super tiny detail of him pleading guilty to conspiracy, securities fraud, money laundering, and criminal contempt in 1996 after an FBI sting operation. I mean, it's probably nothing, but it would be remiss of me if I didn't include it. Back to the yes column, Richard just seems like a super friendly and nice guy. I mean, no one who looks this happy could lie, so this has to go into the yes column. Now, looking at the no column, I'm going to be super nitpicky here and include this other small thing. And look, maybe this is being too judgmental, but I'm going to go ahead and add to the fact that he was charged again with fraud in 2019 by the SEC and had to pay back $750,000. It's probably not even worth bringing up, but again, I just want to be fully transparent. However, I must say that Richard has some really good motivational quotes on his Twitter feed. I mean, look at these quotes. They are truly inspirational, and he puts his name in bigger text than the person who actually said the quote. So when you think about it, who said the quote really? I'm going to have to put this into the yes column. Now, I should probably leave it there, and at this point, I really am not being fair to Richard, but I'll just add one more thing, and I'll let you decide. In 2021, Richard was unfortunately arrested for conspiracy to commit fraud. Look, he has just not been lucky when it comes to fraud. He keeps getting caught. I, for one, do not hold this against him. When I look at this table, I see 3-3. It's pretty even. Personally, I'm leaning towards trusting the guy, but you let me know in the comments what you think. Okay, so Billy's first witness is a bit sketch. Who's number 2?
It's an ad.
It
Billy's second witness was Julius Caesar.
For $30 off your first 3 orders of $35 or more.
Look, you're not paying us, Postmates.
Yeah, come on, man. It's going to come out of my...
have you played
you're
this?
going to demonetize this now.
I know,
Don't
right?
demonetize me. You're double dipping on ads, YouTube. Literally double dipping.
Billy's second witness that says he saw him get it is
look
Todd
who it is.
Rogers.
Oh,
Boy,
Todd.
this is not going well. Okay, hit me with number 3. Surely we're going to get a winner. The third witness that says they saw Billy get the score is Kim Mahoney, who is also Todd Rogers' girlfriend. I'm going to be completely honest here. I'm getting the impression that Billy's witnesses may not be entirely trustworthy. Anyway, let's take a look at these new photos. Remember, this is the first time we've seen any footage of Billy at this event in 15 years. So there's Billy and Todd, and Billy is talking to some dude, and that looks like the Donkey Kong cabinet behind Billy. It's got a VCR on top, which is how they recorded the score. It all looks pretty legit so far. There's Billy and Todd posing with a couple of people. There's a camera that was recording Billy play, even though that footage doesn't seem to exist for some reason. Here's Billy and Todd posing again with the thumbs up. Maybe this is just after Billy got the world record. I have to admit, everything here looks pretty legit, and oh my god, what is that?
Good video. Carl Jost. Thank you, Carl.
That joystick is not an original Donkey Kong joystick. This arcade machine does not have original, unmodified Donkey Kong arcade hardware. This is an original Donkey Kong stick. It's got a big black ball and a short column. The stick on Billy's arcade is a tall stick with a smaller ball, and it's obviously red, so the stick has been changed to something else. On top of that, it appears to be an 8-way stick. Now, the original Donkey Kong stick is 4-way, which means it can only go up, down, left, and right. But an 8-way stick, like the one you would find on all modern arcades, can also go diagonally. When it comes to Donkey Kong, an 8-way stick fundamentally changes the way the game can be played. If you want to steer barrels while on a ladder, you have to stop and hold left or right, because you can't go up and to the side at the same time. But with an 8-way stick, you can continue to climb ladders while steering barrels by using the diagonals. With an 8-way stick, you can do things you can't do on an original arcade, which is why they are banned. So not only is the stick not original, which was totally banned, it looks like an 8-way stick, which is extra banned. And not only would Billy's world record still not count because of the modified stick, but Billy would still also be banned for lying about it. And oh boy, did he lie about it. His entire lawsuit against Twin Galaxies is based on the premise that he played on unmodified original arcade hardware, which is categorically not true. Not only from the videotapes, but now from the photos as well. And his lawsuit is full of lies where Billy claims the hardware was unmodified. And not just Billy, the referees who adjudicated the score lied as well. Todd Rogers and his girlfriend Kim Mahoney both say in their sworn statements that Billy
was lying about his own score. He's like, I'm going to lie for anybody. We got a whole club of liars. That's what they did.
Yep.
How does Walter
Mr. Awesome was right. We should get those t-shirts. Mr. Awesome was right.
How does Walter Day sleep at night?
Unmodified hardware. Everyone just got caught out big time. And it gets even worse because these photos don't just affect the mortgage broker's score world record. They also affect the King of Kong score as well. This is Robert Childs, who is also a longtime friend of Billy Mitchell. For those with a very good memory, this is the same guy that was in the infamous fake.
Steve Wiebe should learn karate and challenge him to a fight.
I was like, Robert Childs looks like he likes childs.
This looks like a horror movie. Looks like a horror movie right here. No, I won't tell anyone, Billy.
Board swap video. He has been lying on behalf of Billy for years. He is part of the con artist clique. Robert Childs runs Arcade Game Sales, which is an arcade retailer in Florida. Arcade Game Sales is important because this is where Billy claims he achieved the King of Kong world record, on an arcade cabinet provided by Robert Childs. Now, as part of his case, Billy Mitchell also submitted a sworn statement from Robert Childs, and Robert states in 2003 he helped Billy by providing an arcade machine. He swore that this was an original Donkey Kong arcade machine. He says the same machine was used when Billy got his King of Kong score in 2004, and says the same machine was used again in 2007 at the Mortgage Brokers Convention. This means that not only is the Mortgage Brokers score disqualified because it was a modified machine, but because Robert Childs swears it was the same machine used in 2004, the King of Kong score is disqualified as well. Billy Mitchell, Todd Rogers, Kim Mahoney, and Robert Childs were all lying about the arcade machine that was supposedly used, and now it's proven. You may be wondering why Billy would lie about something that can so obviously be disproven. And the answer is that Billy didn't know these photos existed. In fact, the entire Donkey Kong community didn't know these photos existed. They were only made public recently, and not by Billy Mitchell. These photos were never made public, and they were only retrieved now by directly contacting the organizers of the convention, which luckily still had them. I
Wow.
cannot stress enough how damning these photos are.
Why?
Even if you were to disregard every single thing that has ever been said about Billy being a cheater up until this point, based solely on these photos, Billy would still lose his lawsuit against Twin Galaxies. His records would still be removed, and he would still be banned, because these photos show his records are not legitimate. I cannot wait until this goes to trial, and you best believe that when it does, I'm going to cover it. I'm excited, and I think you should be too,
video.
because this is going to be a lot of fun. As always, thank you so much for watching, you legends. I hope you are having a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video.
Man. We're so lucky we have all these gamers making videos now.
Yeah,
Remember, it
I
used to
agree.
be like game trailers, right? Game trailers, G4, IGN, GameSpot, 5 opinions,
Yep.
5 reviews. And now you got
Yep.
like the guy that reached out to me about the Josh Harris. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but he did a Josh Harris documentary on YouTube. And it's really well done and tells a lot of the story about Suda that no one else told. So independent content creators, it's great. Anything you want to add before we shove off? I have to go. I have to get a little DMZ in before I leave.
I'm not mad at you, friend. I'm not. No, I'm good, man. I'm good. I just want to say it's always so good to be able to be on stream with you, man. It feels like, yeah, exactly. And it's like, it's always cool just to get your opinion on things. So
it would be nice to get more people calling in. We got to figure out how we can make that happen.
Yeah.
We got to make it easier.
I don't understand. I feel like that. I will say this. Like, I don't know the person that was trying to call in, but I know, like, on Fantastic Forum, sometimes, you have people that'll come on the stream and they're like, oh, what are you always talking about? Oh, I want to talk. And then you give them the link and then it works. Like, we had some people on Fantastic Forum that were just like, oh, they're like, they didn't realize that they were actually going to be able to be on the show. And so we pulled them in and they dipped right out quick. They were like, no.
Well, we'll try and do it weekly. I would like to do it weekly, and I'm trying to get some guests lined up. Thanks for the show, guys, says Mako. Appreciate you tuning in. Please
thanks,
let us know if there's a specific time of day that seems to be better, although on-demand views seem to be better. Thank you, Mary Young. I'll see you in a few hours.
Thank you, Scott Rubin. Yes, sounds good.
I'll see you
Talk
later.
to you soon.
Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye.